I'm Dylan here. So this is the highly anticipated final part to the exam series where I share with you how I guide my students to improve from a fail to a C to a B and to an A in the shortest amount of time possible. Now, previously, I spoke about how do I get from a fail to a C, right? And that process starts with A, analyze. I got to know all the different question types in the particular topic. Typically, there's only 3 to 5. Once that happened, right, I start to feel more confident because whenever whatever question is tested, I'm like, I see this before. This is type 1 proportions. This is level 2 of exponential, right? Oh, this is substitution, right? So you start to know how to, right, recognize the different questions. You have seen this before. Questions no longer feel unpredictable, no longer feel random, no longer feels alien to you. From there, from a C to a B, got to start to strategize, right? Whatever questions is being thrown at you, you have a typical 3 to 5 steps framework to tackle that question. And from there, I mentioned something very important, which is the framework that you create for yourself must be 100% foolproof, right? There cannot be a possibility, right, whereby you tell me, oh, Dylan, this one 60% of the time get correct only, the rest I cannot do. And that defeats the purpose. It's like I'm sending you to a battle and there's a 60% probability, right, of you dying. What's the point, right? So therefore, we want to ensure that this framework, right, you constantly enhance it, buff it up, right, based on your different exposure to different questions, right, you start to work on it, improve on it, right, so that we can ensure that there's 100% of guaranteed victory. Okay, so once we reach a B level, right, and that's the hardest part because remember back when I was a student, we always get stuck in a B range, right, and it's the most challenging, right, step to break through. So therefore, I want to spend a bit of time to share with you what should we do, right, so that we can have that breakthrough to obtain our distinction. And the final step is O, right, which stands for optimize. Now, in real life context, optimization means that I want to increase my efficiency, my effectiveness, as I'm playing a game of chess. How can I win the opponent in the fastest amount of time possible? As I'm clearing a quest in Super Mario, how can I complete the stage in the shortest amount of time possible? Same thing in the exam, right, mathematics exam context. I want to complete the paper in the shortest amount of time possible while making the least mistakes. So please, you can write it down. Optimization means that, right, I want to train my speed, I want to train my accuracy. So in the area of speed, a lot of times, as a student, we struggle in this, right? Just recall back to your exam. How many times do you find yourself rushing through the exam paper, right? You are nervous, you're struggling, right? You are anxious, and you realize that, time is tight, I can't finish on time. And the reason of that will happen because we don't have a lot of time practices, back in our revision, right? Just think back, when I was a student, a lot of times I studied really hard doing homework questions. But when it comes to the exam, I struggle. I struggle because of 2 things. Number one, I don't have enough exposure to the hard questions. I didn't follow the ASO tactic. But more importantly, I didn't have any time trials, right? So that when I'm doing homework, I'm taking my own sweet time. When it comes to exam, I do not know what's the pace that I should follow. So that is the reason why I hold a lot of mock exam sessions for my students, because I want to push them. I want to train them their speed. If these questions, typical students spend 5 minutes, are they able to clear it under 4, under 3, under 2? I want to push them. Right? So I talk about having a speed timer, time themselves and create a dopamine effect whenever you break through in terms of your timing. Right. So that's the first thing that we want to, right, pay more attention to, training our speed based on question types, based on exam papers. Right. More importantly, create pressure and environment so that you get used to the pressure. Right. This will really help, especially like athletes. We go for a lot of competitions. So naturally we'll feel the adrenaline and anxiety. Right. But the more you go for competitions, you slowly start to, tune yourself to it. Right. Okay, I felt this, right, sensation before. I know how to, stay comfortable being anxious. Right. And I won't go mind blank. Right. So that's something that you got to train yourself, right? And start doing time trials, having a speed timer to push yourself and be comfortable in pressurizing environment. And the next part, which is something that's very important that I hope that y'all can just pay attention to, how do I improve my accuracy, reduce my careless mistakes? Now, this is very important because you just think back, every time you get back a paper, people will just say, hey, why are you so careless? You should be more careful next time. But the thing is, that is a lousy advice, right? Because how can I be more careful? What should I do? No one talks about that. So therefore, I went on a journey to figure out a method to improve, right, the way I check my solutions. I want to ensure that I walk out of the exam hall, right, getting my distinction. And that's something that I train my students. I say that, hey, whenever you walk out the exam hall, please text me, Dylan, I get A1 already, I'm confident, right? That should be the feeling that you get. You know you're going to score well. And that requires, right, a framework, right, that you follow through when you are checking your exam paper, not just checking line by line, right? Therefore, I talk about art of validation, creating different manners, right, to validate your solutions. It's not about checking. Checking is very low tier. I call this checking is level 1. Validation is level 10, right? Validation means that 100% is correct, right? Because the truth is a lot of us make careless mistakes, right? Pilots, surgeons, all of us, right, are human. We make mistakes. But how come we are able to ensure that, we reduce the possible chance of mistakes, right? Let's say a surgeon, right? We can't make mistakes. A pilot, we can't make mistakes. How do they avoid it? Because humans inherently make mistakes. Because they follow a SOP. There's a framework that they follow. Okay, step 1, I need to check this. Step 2, I need to do this. Step 3, I need to do this. If I follow a 10-step process, I will be correct, right? And that is what you all need to create for yourself, right? So the best tier, the top tier, I call it validation, whereby we create a method, we find another alternative way to prove that your answer is 100% correct, right? And that is the most powerful way to reduce your careless mistakes. Okay, so test it out, right? Think through. Let's say, upon completing your exam papers, okay, how should I check my paper? How should I validate my solutions? What is the process that I should follow? And not just flipping through randomly, looking at it line by line, right? And then suddenly realize, hey, I transfer this number wrongly. Yeah, I calculate this number wrongly, right? That shouldn't be the way. Okay, so that's it, right? This entire process, ASO, from a fail to a C, analyze, recognize the question. From C to a B, start to strategize, create a framework so that you can tackle all the different types of questions. And the final step to get a breakthrough and to obtain your distinction, got to optimize, train your speed, create a framework to reduce your careless mistakes so that now you can confidently walk out the exam hall, texting me, Dylan, 100% A1, right? And that's a little dream that I have for all of you. Okay, so that's it, right? I hope you all enjoyed the mini series that I've created. And if it's useful, let me know, drop me a DM. Okay, as I've mentioned, next week I'm opening up my enrollments. Right, if you find yourself struggling in mathematics and you really want to do well, for end of year, we have around 2 months. I want to work together with you, right? I only can take in a handful of students, right? Because I'm the only tutor, right? But if you need help, right, I'm gonna share the link, right? And for you to join our Paradigm family next week. All right, all the best. Take care and have an amazing week ahead. Take care.